All right, guys, welcome to the Experience Matters Live podcast. I am your host today, Chris Clothier. I am not your normal host. Kent Clothier is normally the face you see whenever you turn this thing on at 2 o'clock every Wednesday. Kent Sr. is out of town today. Actually, he had been in our Texas offices, and today is driving. Probably deserves to be able to drive off someplace fun. I'm not sure if he's heading back to the office or where he's heading now, or the Memphis offices. But just the same, he asked me to handle the Experience Matters Live call with him this week. And it is, I look at it as a privilege to be able to actually have a conversation with an investor that I met probably a little over 10 years ago, maybe even as many as 11, maybe 12 years ago, some time frame back there. Jeff has been, and his wife have been investors with REI Nation for almost 10 years. Next month, it'll be 10 years. He's joining us today from Franklin, Tennessee, although when we met, he was out in California. So Jeff, without me stealing any more thunder of your introduction, man, why don't you say hello and introduce our audience to yourself. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, I'm Jeff Ledbetter. Like Chris said, I used to live in California, but I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm a Tennessee boy. We're in Franklin now. So I like to tell people that I don't want people to think I'm one of those Californians that are moving to Tennessee, because that's kind of frowned upon in some circles. So the South was calling me home. So that's why I'm back in Franklin. That's why I'm back in Tennessee, in Franklin, Tennessee.
I love it. I love it. Hey, so now before we go into all this, I had completely forgot. Believe me, it's been so long since you and I had dinner together. And introduce your wife. Your wife, both y'all are investors with the company.
Yeah, Jacqueline is my wife. We both own our own software company. She's our head of sales or sales development. She calls herself HBIC. I won't say what that means. That's what I was trying not to say. But yeah, and I'm the head nerd.
You're the idea guy, and she's the driver. Is that where we're going with that one?
Yeah. We build software that manages software development. We like to call it nerd to nerd software. We have customers all over the world. We've got some development team in Romania. I got a tech support team in Denmark, and I got a guy in Georgia and a guy down here in Spring Hill. So we're kind of spread out. There's two of us here in our main office, and everyone else is spread out.
I love it. And all right, so when you and I met, that's what I was going back to, and I had dinner with you guys. I completely forgot you were from, originally from Memphis. Tell us a little bit about that. Where were you born? What path did you take?
Well, I was born in, it's kind of sad, really. I was born in Baptist Central, and they tore it down,
Yeah, that's gone.
Like, God, I think Elvis died there. So the hospital where Elvis died and I was born is no more. So that kind of breaks my heart. So I was born in Memphis. I grew up in South Haven, Mississippi. And then in about 1996, 1997, a friend of mine who is no longer with us, he got this great idea. We should move to California, and we should become actors, because we were the best actors in our Memphis acting class, and we were good looking. And so, the company I was working for at the time was in the middle of closing down. So I said, let me see if I can get a job. So I got a job, in like a week I had a job offer in California. So I said, I guess it's in the cards. And the interesting thing is the job I went to go that I had was developing the software that I now own. So we worked on it there for about 5 years. And then me and a partner partnered up with another company, and we purchased that software from the parent company, and we formed our own business out of that. And that was in 2003. And about 2014, we decided it's time to get out of California. I think we made the right decision. So we packed up everything, moved the business, and here to Franklin, and never looked back.
Wow, that is so funny. So it's bringing back all these memories of us when we went to dinner, because now I'm remembering we may have, and I'm gonna switch over my view here and make it where everybody can see both of us talking. We may have run in some similar circles back, in the early 90s when I was in college here in Memphis, and you were probably in college here in Memphis, and probably had some of the same knucklehead friends, and we're having fun together. It's small world.
Yeah, I think we're about the same age, right? I got the big 50 next month. How about you?
I'm 37, but we're close. It's
Oh,
not,
okay.
it's not
Well, we're not the same.
no, no, I'm kidding. I turn 49 in May. So we're right there together. We're right there together.
It's all downhill after that.
Apparently. Let's talk about something that our viewers may actually want to hear about as we go on this. So look, you guys, if you wouldn't mind, share a little bit about how, like, when we first met and about your portfolio, because I know about your portfolio, and I know that in some respects you're kind of modest about it, in the fact that it's not this huge, massive portfolio, but the way you invested and what it gives you guys, and the way you handle this on a monthly basis. I know a lot of investors watching today would love to be in your position. So why don't you share us a little bit about, how we first met and when you first bought and kind of where we're at here.
Okay. Well, I can just give a little bit of background, I've always been, and I still am, I'm a stock market investor. I started investing when I was 20, a little bit here and there, but by the time 2008, 2009 had rolled around, I had a pretty decent sized portfolio for myself. And then I saw how quickly, with the stock market crash, we had been through some ups and downs, obviously, through the years, but I saw how quickly I could lose 50% value in just a matter of months. And that kind of scared me. And so I started thinking about real estate at that point. And I'd always had an interest in real estate, and I didn't really know how to do it. And so I was coming back after spending Christmas in Memphis, and I was driving down to my uncle-in-law's house with Jacqueline to celebrate Christmas there. And there was someone on the radio talking about turnkey investing in real estate. And I just thought to myself, I said, that's a good idea. Because, always I had been trained it's always safe to give money to my financial advisor on a monthly basis. I'm buying mutual funds on a monthly basis, but I'm just putting money into this unknown entity that pays some dividends that hopefully will have some appreciation and pay a return, but it's nothing I have any control over. So I thought, man, this makes sense. I don't have any expertise in real estate. And to me, this is almost like buying real estate passively, like what you guys are doing. And so this is not the person I ended up going with, but I did end up going with someone else offering a turnkey system who were selling properties in Indianapolis, Indiana. And that's how I first got going. And then I got on Bigger Pockets, and that's where Jacqueline actually was the first one to discover you guys. And she said, hey, these guys are in Memphis. And I looked you up. We had a conversation. I liked the story. We're in town every Christmas, so we stopped by the office and we met with Mark and met everyone. And we liked the story. We liked what you guys were doing. And looking back now, the feeling I had then is the same feeling I had now. You guys passed the sniff test. I always thought you were nice people, and I didn't think you were just some real estate con artists that I've encountered a lot since then that were out trying to make a buck. I believe that you guys really wanted to educate people and provide people a path to some form of alternate investing. And it was interesting because I think you guys were coming out to California a lot then, because you were doing some, I know your dad loves those cookies at that hotel.
The DoubleTree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a DoubleTree not too far from our home there. And I'd come over, and every time you guys were in town, we would meet and hang out. And, over time in 2011, I purchased my first property. And then a couple months later, I purchased my second property. And, at that point, I already had 3 properties that I had purchased in Indianapolis. So we had 5 in just a matter of a few years. And we kind of put the brakes on at that point. We just kind of wanted to see where things were going. So I have 2 with you guys, but I wish I had more. Like I was telling you earlier, I was dumb for not getting in Dallas in 2013, 2014, whenever you guys first went there. So. That's probably a long answer, and I'm not sure I even answered your question.
No, you did. No, you did. So you've got two houses that you purchased through us in 2011. Tell me, do you still have your Indianapolis houses?
I do have my Indianapolis houses, and I will tell you this, with Memphis Invest or REI Nation, you guys have been my only property manager. I'm on my fourth property manager with my Indianapolis property. So I, with turnkey investing, it's always about who's managing your property, and you guys have gone above and beyond, I think. I've had bad experiences. I had a couple of bad experiences. Then I had a good 7-year run, and then this property manager was just getting out of the business. So I'm kind of starting over again. So that's why I'm on the fourth. But that's one very nice thing about being with you guys. It's been very consistent. And when you're hands off, when you're remote, consistency is what you want. You want a partnership, and that's what I kind of feel like that's what we have.
Right. Well, we were talking before it got started, and you brought something up very interesting that I want people to hear, because we're looking to do this again. So I'm going to go back a little bit to the beginning of the story, and that is that there was a time, and I think it was roughly 2011. It was right around that time that we made plans to start traveling to California. We also went to New York City. We went to the South Florida area. We went to Chicago, and we went to Dallas. These were 5 markets that we had a high concentration of investors there. And it was Southern California too. We didn't have a high concentration of investors in Northern California, but we kind of recognized, we did a couple of events where we brought investors into Memphis to meet us. I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to attend one of those in Memphis or even Dallas, because we did a couple in Dallas too. But, we had these events where people could come in and meet us at our offices, and it's a good place to bring a big crowd. You know what I mean? You can bring in a lot of investors and have still have it intimate, because you can still have those one-on-one conversations. But what we found was, when we went to California or Hawaii or New York, these places where we had high concentrations of investors, and we held these, again, they were even more intimate, smaller meetings, and even did some dinners, it really built, relationship. And it also built trust in the investors. The investors were like, hey, if you're willing to come out here, we didn't, we grew to where we didn't bring houses. There was nothing for sale. It was just a chance to meet and say hello. We're looking forward to do that again. But I really think that in fact, I know you and I went to dinner a couple of times. I know you and Jackie, we were just talking about, y'all took me to a Cuban restaurant. Mm-hmm. I think it was
Havana.
And it was like, I still rave about it. I remember I was, where the heck are y'all taking me? Because we were driving like under an overpass. So I was like, where? I was worried until we got there, and I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, we were building relationships with deep, friendships with people. And this COVID stuff is really, as obviously as it should, it's put an end to that. But we can't wait to get back out there and start, meeting and seeing investors again, and going to dinner, grabbing a cup of coffee. And
that's what I like. I think we had dinner 2 or 3 times, but one time you were out there, and I guess you had other clients out there locally, and so you had about 10 or 12 of us there at a table together, and so everyone could and you encouraged everyone to speak openly and honestly about what our experience had been like so far, what challenges we've had, and everyone kind of traded ideas on insurance, on corporate structure, how we should own these properties, and things like that. And I think that was a good. You build a familial relationship, because it was kind of like a big family dinner. So it was nice.
Yeah. And that's what we've, on a different scale, that's what we're trying to do with this particular Facebook group right here, is just create we'll call it a conversation where people, and we encourage it, can talk back and forth. We're missing that piece of being able to really see each other and break bread together, that kind of thing. But we'll bring it back. But this is, on a different level. This is bringing investors together, talk, share. I love what you just said. It's about what are you doing that I might find successful. We did that on purpose, Jeff. as business owners.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, we thought to ourselves, if we have something to hide, we don't want everybody talking. We want to keep everybody as separated as possible.
Yep.
But when you look around and say, there's nothing to hide. It is what it is. My dad, he's the first one to stand on from stage and tell you when he's asked how much do you make on a house, he says as much as we can. We are a profitable business, but we're fair. I mean, we want to be fair. We want everybody to do good. When you do well, we're doing well. That is the way it goes. So I miss those times. I look forward to getting back out there and doing something even over in the Nashville area and getting to hang out with you guys and, go to dinner at some great place you found over there. I'm sure you've already got a long list of them in the last 6-7 years, right?
Oh yeah. There's some good places in Franklin. America's favorite Main Street.
There you go. Well, hey, let's talk about that portfolio then for a second, because that's really the thing that ties investors together. Tell me how it's done over the last 10 years. Kind of tell me where it's at right now. And as we talk our conversation, Jeff, let's remember, because I told you this off air, I want to hear about, when things weren't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Move-outs aren't perfect. Residents, kind of changing, or I don't know everything over the past 10 years. So feel free to share, because that's what this is all about, and kind of let people know what a real 10-year investment looks like.
Well, it's, I'm kicking myself because last night I went into my accounting system and I ran my cash flow report from the beginning of time for my Memphis properties, and I didn't bring it with me. But it's been successful. It's been really successful over the past 5 or 6 years, for the most part, because I've been lucky with long-term tenants. They've been renewing every year, and that's the key. I think that's what I've learned more than anything, is to get someone in there. And I think everyone says that, get someone in there, because it's the turnover is where you lose money. Now I've had, not with Memphis, but I've had some unfortunate move-outs that cost a lot of money as well. So sometimes long-term tenants isn't always a good thing. But as far as Memphis goes, everything has been successful. Right off the bat, when we first started, I was, I think when my first tenant I think you guys had to evict them after a couple of months. And that was rough going, because I was having a rough time with my other turnkey. And then I got with you guys, and I was kind of threw my hands up, at one point, and I said, maybe this can't really be done. But you guys, you got another tenant in there, and there was some turnover, but the last one's been in there for a while. So that's made both of them pretty successful. And you guys have even, we had an issue once with some, my insurance company came out and they were complaining about, they were saying the roof wasn't installed properly. And this was, I had the house made for a few years, and you guys were actually split the difference with me on getting the roof replaced. And I thought that was a nice thing to do. And so, even so, maybe I shouldn't have said that, because everyone's going to be expecting it now. But, the house, I hadn't had it that long, and they were saying, hey, the roof was installed incorrectly and things like that. But, there were some challenges at first, but you have to see it through, because the way I always look at it is I've purchased this asset. I have it. It's something that I can control how well I'm going to do on it. And so if it were just me by myself, I would have been infinitely frustrated. But actually having a property management team and having someone to help out makes you want to stay through the process. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is when it gets tough, at least it's something that you can control. You can guide how much income, how much profit you're going to make, because it's a brick and mortar thing. It's something you can touch. It's something you can be involved in. If you're investing in stocks or mutual funds and the stock market goes south, you can't call up the manager of a fund and say, hey, I'm not happy with how you're doing things. Can you adjust A, B, and C? but at least with a property, that's something you can do. So that was something that I kept telling myself, no matter how hard it gets, look for that light at the end of the tunnel and stick it out. That's a very long answer to your small question, but
No, perfect.
Looking at the numbers, my cash on cash, I've done very well with these properties over the past 10 years. This is back in the good old days where the houses cost less. So, putting 25% down was only about $25,000. So I think in my 2 Memphis properties, I've only had to out of pocket about $50,000, and they've returned, well, you guys can do the math, 10 years, each one about $1,000 a month. So it's done very well. And my expenses have been in line. You gave one of your Facebook lives a few weeks ago. You guys talked about what your expense percentage was. And I went back and I double checked you, and actually mine kind of fell in line with what you had said. So,
well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Keep me in line, man. You got to keep me in line. You should be right on it.
Yeah.
And let me just go back to something that you said, because I appreciate you sharing what you said about the roof. I don't remember the details. Of course, I don't know that you do either. I don't know if we replaced that roof to begin with, because certainly that would be one thing. The roof may have had life left in it. We said we didn't, replace it back then. That's 10 years ago. That's pre us understanding that we would never want an investor to have that experience to begin with. But, what you shared, Jeff, is what we've always told people. There's no guarantee. Like, I don't want you to buy, I don't want to attract people with a guarantee. I think that's really poor. That's a poor strategy that some turnkey companies use. Mm-hmm. Is this, I'm going to guarantee you'll get all your rent in the first year. I'm going to guarantee you won't have any maintenance in the first year. And my take on that, the Clothier family has always said the same thing, that, God, if we do it right, if our team does their job, that should be a given.
Yeah.
That shouldn't even be a guarantee. That's just good craftsmanship and good, work. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you buy something new and it has a 90-day to 1 year warranty or something, of course it should. If this piece of crap breaks in 1 year, then it's a piece of crap.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, that's where I'll, what we decided instead was, I know when it hurts. I know because as an investor myself, I had bought many properties where I had an expectation, and I mean, reality fell so short of that expectation that it was frustrating. Mm-hmm. At times it was defeating, where the last thing I want to do is go buy another house or do anything. And I also I beat myself up a lot. I spent a lot of time as an early investor beating myself up for all I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy for this. I'm a dummy for that. And I tell my story today, and I tell people that, I'm very, very direct. I lost a lot of money as an early investor. But you know what I really lost? I lost my sense of faith and trust in people. And I probably should have, because that was what was costing me money. And instead, what I learned was, I want to make sure as a business person, when I joined my dad and Brett, who they started Memphis Invest before I joined them, that when I joined them, I never wanted anybody to have that same feeling. Yeah. If we set an expectation and fall short, then we want to step in and not surprise somebody, but I guess that's really what it is. We want to do something that's unexpected, that's uncalled for. There's nothing that says we have to do this, but it's really the right thing to do for the experience we want you to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's something that I will always remember. I can always go back that, hey, they could have said, the heck with it, Jeff. It's your house, but you guys made it right. And I think that's what it was. I think the appraisal said the roof was fine and had lots of good years left on it. And I think I was like, hey, it's only a couple of years later, and it seems to have a problem. And so you guys, you did the right thing. So it was nice.
Well, we always, let me tell you something funny that I've said this again, and your story right there will go down as one of them. I've always told people that the best recommendations we've ever received And while we greatly appreciate an investor that says, man, they are the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, it's over the moon, fantastic, unicorns and rainbows because it's amazing. And some people that's been their experience, which is great. We'll never downplay that. But I always tell people that the best recommendations we've received have been those who say that it's not been perfect because that's a tough, perfection is a hard,
Yeah.
that's a hard hurdle to get over. But they've always stepped in and done what I think is fair, made me feel appreciated as a client. They have earned my trust and my long-term, admiration of them as a company by doing X, Y, or Z. And those are the things I always tell people that you'll never know, Jeff, how much that means to us to hear that story there, because that's a detail that I'd forgotten over the years. But I appreciate that you remember it because that's why we would have stepped in the first place.
Well, one thing I appreciate about you guys, I guess appreciate's the right word. I was kind of a bit of a skittish investor, when I hooked up with you guys, just because of my bad experience I had with the other turnkey. Now, those have since turned around and they've been performing. So I'm glad I have those. But, I had a couple of issues with my indie property. So as soon as we had that eviction with my first property with you guys, after a few months, man, I was probably poor Nate. He was hearing from me all the time. I was just, I'm like, man, do I have the huevos to do this? Because I was just like, I was nervous. I'm like, man, are we going to be able to get another tenant in there? Because it took a bit. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is you guys were very open with your communication, and you took the time to actually communicate with me. I've always said, Jacqueline hears me says it all the time, that lack of communication breeds mistrust. And, because your mind can go all kinds of directions. Like, okay, well, they told me they were going to call me on Tuesday. It's now Thursday. I haven't heard anything. What the hell's gone wrong? And so, but that's one thing I like with you guys, and what you do now is the communication, because I can handle a lot of stuff. I can deal with a lot of problems. I'm an old grown man at this point. And so there's nothing you're going to throw at me as long as someone's upfront and honest. Hey, we have this problem and this is what's going to take to fix it. I can digest it and I can figure out, okay, what we're going to do with it. If we have a problem and we don't tell you about it and we let you think everything's great, and then suddenly you find out, oh my God, it's things weren't great, that's when things become an issue. So you guys are always good about, letting people know and being honest.
Well, it's you've heard Ken Senior speak many times. His philosophies have worked their way down through the entire team. The poor communication, no communication, I would say for sure, is almost a fireable offense. Poor communication, we can train and teach and help with. No communication, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure somebody that is going to make it in our company that way. But, it's just, again, Jeff, I appreciate everything you're saying, because it's what we've strived for. It's really what we've been trying to build over 10 years. People always, ask us to speak at different events or at different, webcasts, podcasts, whatever. And we always tell people that we're not a real estate company. Well, we're a service company. We're a customer service company. We have to excel in communication. We have to excel in service. We have to excel in empathy may not always be the right word. We have to excel and be able to put ourselves in the situation of our investor and our resident now. I mean, we've really put this huge focus on that side, put ourselves in the position of the resident. And I'm going to tell you, it's been not life-changing. That's the wrong way to put it. It's definitely changed our company. It's changed everything about the way that we operate, our culture, everything, once we really made that focus. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you guys have felt. Did you say you've had both residents in there for 5+ years running?
Yes. I mean, I always love it. Every June when when Carol says, "Oh, they're going to renew again," and I'm like,
Whew,
"Thank you,
I'll
Jesus."
tell you what, I think we just put the hex on each other. I am. Well, we're gonna start working right now on renewals.
But you know, and
So
I don't want this to sound like just a Memphis Invest REI Nation praise fest, because but I really am I'm a fan of you guys. I'm a fan of yours. I was interviewing a new property management team recently, trying to get my indie situation sorted out. And you're a rock star on Bigger Pockets. Everyone knows who you are. And so I'm assuming that all these property management companies that pretend they're serious about being a turnkey know who you are. And so that's what I had told them. I said, "Do you know Memphis Invest, and are you familiar with the Clothiers?" And he had said he said yes. And I said, "That's what I want. That's what I'm expecting from you guys. I want a Memphis Invest experience." And I'm not making that up. That's exactly what I told him last week, and he knew exactly what I meant. And hopefully they're going to come through with it. So, because it's a partnership. I mean, because you guys got people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars buying properties, and it's not just we're selling you something. It's something that you guys are helping people select the properties. You're managing them, and if someone's trying to grow the portfolio, you're there. And I mean, if someone wants to sell one of the houses, I'm sure you guys can step in and help them do that as well. So it's nice to have that access to all of that.
And let me tell you, we've got a question from the group that I'm going to bring you a second, but I was going to tell you that when I look back and I talk about some of the things that make me super happy with the directions we've taken and the intentional decisions that we've made, there are what I know of, there's at least 3 other turnkey companies that are in this Facebook group. They might be on the call right now watching, which is all good. It's perfectly fine. We've never, there are no secrets. When we talk about the way we want to be, or, the growth we want to have, or the, hell, even if we're competing with somebody for any piece of the business, it's never from a case of we're better than you or you're not good enough as far as other companies are concerned. It's always a case of we recognize that we got a bit of a head start on everybody. We have a bit of we'll just call it drive, and there's no stop in where we're at. So we kind of recognize that being the leader in this industry, and this is what other people say about us, the gold standard. That's not a word we came up with. That's a word that other turnkey companies, kind of use to describe who we are and what we do. Anybody in Indianapolis or anywhere else that wanted to do what we do, it's all right here. Come join the group, watch these videos, listen. This is because it's not rocket science. It is straight up, how do you treat people? And then how do you hold people accountable to expectation? It's not a lot more to it. And to that, if you do that right, then you're going to have conversations with investors like yourself. They're going to say, it's not perfect, but damn, it's good.
I feel that you guys have a business plan, and you've executed it, and you guys adjusted every year. Whereas some other people I've worked with, it seems like they're just making it up as they go. And that's what makes me nervous. When you get that feeling, you're like, okay, is this really how they handle it, or is it or this is how they're doing it this time because they're reacting to what they think I want? When you're working with a turnkey company, I want someone to tell me, this is how we handle move-outs, this is how we handle this is how we handle that. And if I bought into that system, then I'm happy with it. I don't want someone to say, well, how do you want us to handle it? Because that tells me you don't have a plan. And that plan is comfort.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question here from the group. Is that all right?
Yes.
And anybody else that might be watching out there live today, if you do have questions for myself or for Jeff, or that we can talk about it all, I mean, please feel free to put them in here. I know that sometimes or most every time, investors really just love listening and learning and hearing. So, but all right. So what accounting software do you use to track your rental portfolio? That's directly to you, buddy.
I use Quicken 2020. They update every year. Ever since Intuit drop Quicken and Quicken form their own business entity, it's been much better. So I use Quicken Business with rental property management.
Quicken Business with, what was the other piece?
With rental property management. It's like an add-on module that comes in with it.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
So
Very good.
It's really for people who are, creating invoices and maybe billing your, if you actually are doing this yourself, but it's got all the tools and all the stuff in there that, I just pull everything down from my checking account. I categorize everything and I get the benefits of all the rental analysis, the automatic Schedule E and all that kind of stuff. So that's nice. I can do cash flow reports, cash flow comparisons, tracks all my expenses and everything. Now, the only thing I'm not doing is invoicing my tenants or, collecting rent. You guys are doing that for me.
It sounds like I need a lesson in that with my portfolio, because that sounds really nice.
I like it a lot. It's I was on the fence with it a few years ago, but ever since they do monthly updates now, and it's light years ahead of where it used to be.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, so real quickly, you're a business owner too, right? You and your wife, y'all are business owners, entrepreneurs.
I think you're an entrepreneur. I think I'm just a nerd that owns a software company. But yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me how many areas of that quadrant behind you are you in right now?
Well, see, yeah, and everyone, if you're watching this, I always have this on the board. I didn't put it up here. I mean, over here, that's some nerd stuff I got to do this week. But I always have this right in the middle. This is employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And I guess I'm a little bit of SBI. But an investor is where we want to be. And I learned that from Robert Kiyosaki in his cash flow quadrant book. And that's really, the Rich Dad Poor Dad is really one of the things that really got me going thinking about this in 2009. And I know people, they have different opinions about that book. But you know what? If it gets you going and gets you motivated, that's what matters, right? And so,
yeah.
And I'm not just, I wrote down a few other things. I enjoy real estate. I enjoy the single family rentals, but I've done some non-recourse mortgage lending for actually some Memphis Invest clients that worked out nicely. Note funds with PPR Note Company, and some promissory notes and things like that. So I'm trying to get my fingers in real estate in various different ways.
Well, you commented in the group the other day. Somebody asked about notes. I think it was 2 days ago, and you made a comment about PPR notes. Is that right?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
PPR Note Company. I met, and I can't think of his name right now to save my life. It doesn't matter. But I met him at the Bigger Pockets convention in Denver in 2011. David Van Horn. He was there and talking about note investing, and I always kept his information, and but I didn't have individual notes. Were a little scary to me because, once again, I'm a little reserved about that. I like systems, and so they have notes funds of notes that have great returns. Some people look at them and they're saying, "Oh, this must be some kind of pyramid scheme." But if you dig into the details of seeing how they're performing, they're buying underperforming notes and they're bringing them back. And then when you start seeing that, you can realize, okay, this is how they're offering that return. And so that's been a nice investment. That's really hands-on.
And I'll tell you that Dave Van Horn is a really good guy. I met Dave many times. He and I have spoke on the same stage probably for the last decade. He and I have spoken many, many times in the same places. I've heard him talk a lot. He's for those that would be interested in that, he's one of the best, super smart.
Yeah, he's I've only met him that one time, but they're a good company. And if you've got some money that you're wanting to that you want to put somewhere else, not just single family rentals, I mean, I've had nothing but good experiences with them.
So Steve Hong in our group is asking, what's the cost of the software you described earlier? And is it a subscription type service, like monthly, or how's that work?
It's how much is it? $129. You can buy different levels of Quicken. They call it a subscription. It's not web-based. They might have a web-based client. But you get the software. It's a 2-year subscription. And so it kind of validates every time you log on. If there's any updates, it automatically downloads them. And so I think you kind of have to rebuy it every couple of years, but you can get it at a discount. But yeah, it's dirt cheap. You know, 129, it's a bargain.
Do you import from Propertyware? Do you import our reporting straight into it?
No, you guys just, your deposits go to my bank account, and then I just download my transactions into my bank account from my bank account into it, and I have everything. It sets up, where this, like there will be a single deposit from Memphis Invest that comes into my checking account that's for this amount of money, and then I break it down every month to rent, property management, expenses, with the predefined categories, and it's a no-brainer.
Gotcha.
But it was interesting though, because you came out another time you were out in California. I know you had to really twist your arm to get you to come out to Newport Beach all those times. I know it was hell to have to do that, but you spoke at a couple of those little small groups that Kathleen Kramer used to do, and that was another connection I made with Kathleen with you guys, and from there we did some individual note in investing for some Memphis Invest customers who needed some, who were doing non-recourse loans, and that was an opportunity there. So it's I've kind of seen it from all sides, and all sides are good, So anyway.
Well, I can promise you this much: I am going to come over there in that area. I may be over there, like I was telling you. We're sounds like a nice place to go and hang out. Maybe over there with the business group as well, and look forward to again, sitting at the table with a group of investors and letting you guys share stories and letting people hear from you directly. It's always fun to do. So
we have a beautiful new hotel in downtown Franklin that has a perfect size ballroom for you to come in and put something together.
All right. Well, hey, we'll go ahead and pencil it down that it's going to happen. Not sure the days just yet, but we're going to pencil that down.
Well, I would love it. I would love to help you guys out as much as I could.
Hey, before we get off here, I'm going to let you throw a shout out if you want to who's your customer service team member?
Carol.
Well, there you go. Do you want to change?
No.
Okay. I'm just kidding. That's not meant. Like, I knew that 10 years, same customer service team member. Probably
I had Cindy for a bit, and then Cindy went WOW exclusive, and so now I have Carol.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not WOW exclusive. That's okay. Carol makes me feel loved.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Well, Jeff, look, to be direct, and we really, really do appreciate the years that we've been together. I appreciate the friendship that we've also developed over time. I love jumping on here and catching up every once in a while. Hope to get to see you and your wife soon. And the reality is that it just kind of, I think every time that we were out there in California, you guys made a point to try and see us, and we were always making a point to try and see investors. And I think that just goes back to your partnership thing earlier. If any investor that's on here, whether you're already a client of REI Nation or you want to be one day, the friendship that you have with Carol, the friendship that you and I had, being able to jump back on a call after not seeing each other in a long time and just jump right back into, sharing, it never takes the replace. It never removes the fact that like we have a responsibility to you. We're not friends just to be friends. We manage something for you that it is our responsibility to make sure that we do that to the absolute best of our ability. But in the meantime, in between all that, we want to get to know and do our best to build real relationships, not fake relationships. We want things that are real. And I think that's hopefully the listeners today got a good sense of that from you and I, because it's been a lot of fun over 10 years. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. And I appreciate that. I think you're a really smart guy. Your family's a good family. You're good people, and I enjoy our friendship. But one thing I'd like to say though, if you're on the fence or if you're thinking about is it time, I like to think about what people say about stock market investing. It's not, you don't want to time the market, it's time in the market. And so it's the same way for your real estate stuff. You're going to have bumps at the get-go, and and you're going to start in the hole a little bit in the get-go. But it's the time that you hold these properties, it's over time that you're going to make your money. And you guys have stressed all the time, this is not a quick buck. You're not going to get rich quick. It's just a way of diversifying your assets. So just like if you're someone who is purchasing, you're doing those monthly mutual fund purchases every month, just think of it this way. It's another asset that I'm buying that's going to hopefully provide me, well, it is going to provide me some cash flow. That's going to hopefully provide some appreciation. And it's another tool in your retirement toolbox. And go from there. I mean, like I said, I kicking myself. I looked at those $120,000 Dallas properties back in 2012, and I'm like, oh, but that's just too high. They have to come down. And so now I'm kind of screwed myself. So, but hey, it'll come back around hopefully.
There's a few investors that may want to sell those now. I'm not really sure, like the plus range. I'm just kidding. Hey, look, you have a fantastic day. Best of luck with the business you got going there. We appreciate you being a client and joining us today and sharing with all of our viewers. Wish you the best of luck, and we hope to see you again in person soon. All right.
Thank you, sir. You guys need to have another Memphis Invest Live event. Those were great.
We're doing it. We've got this beautiful new building that we want to show off to our investors, and we've got a great area out back over here for a big tent and have a band and have it catered with barbecue. I mean, we're going to do it as big as we ever did it before. I just don't know when.
I'm looking forward to it. We're looking forward.
All right, buddy.
All right, see you later. Thank you for having me.
Hey, take care.
Bye.
See you.